Howdy yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And today we're finally getting the answer to the age-old question.
Tyler, what did you think of Game of Thrones this week?
Because today we're bringing you
Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3, The Long Night. Howdy yokes, before we get started, I just want to remind you real quick that this episode is brought to you by Carlin Brothers Coffee. Now this episode of Game of Thrones is called The Long Night, and if you need to get through a long night, there's nothing better to do that with Carlin Brothers Coffee. It's literally the best coffee I've ever had in my entire life. I'm not just saying that because I say that every week, I'm saying it because it's true. I love this coffee so much, and it definitely works. The coffee works. It'll get you through any long night that you choose, especially if you're being chased by zombies or murdered by White Walkers. This coffee will keep you awake, I promise, especially the cold brew. That stuff will have you running through walls. Anyway, you're probably asking me right now, how do I get some? It's pretty simple, pretty easy to do. All you gotta do is go to carlinbrotherscoffee.com/discount/bacon and use promo code BACON at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Now that's coffee, that's cold brew, that's mugs, that's t-shirts, that's tea, that's everything else they sell there. Now I will warn you that the t-shirts don't keep you awake. There's no caffeine in the t-shirts or the mugs. If you want caffeine, you have to get the coffee. Anyway, go to carlinbrotherscoffee.com/discount/bacon and use code BACON at checkout. And if you've already done that, you can use code EGGS at checkout as well to get the same 10% off. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you even more for listening. On with the episode.
Now, this episode was released April 28th, 2019, just 2 days ago on a $15 million budget. We have no idea of knowing how many dollars it makes because it is a TV show, but it did get a 96 critic review on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, it did not. That is not correct. It got a 75.
75 critic review on Rotten Tomatoes. My mistake. And as far as we're aware, no Metacritic score.
There was not a Metacritic score. They do not score individual episodes, only seasons.
Gotcha.
Now, I will tell you that this is the second worst rated episode of Game of Thrones ever.
I've watched a few episodes. Okay, so Ethan,
yeah,
ask me the question again.
Tyler, what did you think of Game of Thrones this week?
I actually did watch Game of Thrones this week, but what I really want to talk about is the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Actually, I didn't even watch it, but I know you did.
I haven't watched it either.
Most popular on TV. Let's see. Do you have a negative review of this episode? I mean, it's the worst scoring episode in a long time, I think. I don't know.
It's the second worst ever. It's the worst in season 5. And there's very, very good reasons why that episode was poorly rated.
You think so?
What? This one?
Oh, yeah.
This one, yeah, I do, but no, that one was bad. There was one really bad one. They introduced the sexual abuse of a character that didn't happen in the books and just put it in there for fun for no reason.
Very weird.
And so
very
people were like,
weird.
That is a weird thing to do. Also, it involved 7 grown women just hissing at each other at one point.
I mean, I think when you work on the Game of Thrones set, there's a certain point where you're like, I'm not going to question it.
Yeah, they lost the plot on that one for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Because
do you have a negative review?
Yeah, I do. I have a negative review from Matthew Gilbert of the Boston Globe, who says, I do love Game of Thrones, but in the middle of the long night, my love was tested. The effort to pepper the battle with human set pieces lost out to shadowy bluster.
I think I understand where that man is coming from.
I definitely do.
I have a positive review. I've got a few of them. This one comes from Spencer Kornhaber from The Atlantic. This is a positive review, but a lot of these positive reviews are begrudgingly positive. This one says, I'm satisfied, but my eyes need a rest.
I feel that. Yeah, I feel that. I just want to go back and
okay,
take this whole episode and put it in Adobe Premiere and just turn it up a little bit.
I think you lose the point. As somebody who doesn't watch Game of Thrones, I actually appreciate that it was done at nighttime. Listen, here it is. Longer than Helm's Deep on a quarter, not even a tenth of the budget I imagine the Lord of the Rings series had. I imagine around 150 mil. What do you think?
Lord of the Rings? I have no idea.
Yeah.
As far as how much of that was specifically spent on Helm's Deep, again, I have no idea.
I don't know.
2 Towers budget.
But I say 150. That seems like a lot for that time period.
94.
Okay, so you've got about 6 times the budget for Helm's Deep and the rest of Two Towers.
It's almost 20 years later.
Right. The decision to go with nighttime makes obvious sense to me. Not only is it cheaper. It is also like you can get away with a lot more. The CGI doesn't have to be as nice.
Well, and it also just completely makes canonical sense.
It makes canonical sense. It also makes sense to me because, and I know, here's the thing, I haven't lived under a rock. I've read your Game of Thrones articles that people have been posting for the last 8 years. I know most of the characters by name.
Oh, we haven't even talked about that. I guess we should properly introduce the fact that, like, this is the first episode you've properly watched.
I've seen probably the first 3 episodes. I've never seen Ned Stark's death. So at least up to that.
Yeah, up to, also I should say that this is just going to be complete spoilers of probably everything in the show.
Yeah, no, unless you didn't learn this past weekend, Bacon and Eggs is now a spoiler show. If you see the episode title and you do not want that movie spoiled, there will not be a segment of the show. I can guarantee there aren't spoilers.
Right, there are plenty of shows out there doing that.
Right.
If you really want to hear like hard-hitting reviews of movies, I would suggest you go check out Cinemaholics. If you want to talk about Game of Thrones, I know that John Negroni is willing to talk about Game of Thrones. Just at him. He will actually, his opinions are on his Twitter feed for free.
Right. Now, here's my thing with Game of Thrones. I'm sure a day will come where I sit down and watch and I'm like, why did nobody tell me that this was this good? And I know that like everybody has told me that it was this good. And I know that like I'm just going to be annoying about it when I do finally watch it. But here's my complaints about Game of Thrones. Everybody that talks about it says that every character you care about dies, which can't possibly be true because every character I cared about is still alive 8 seasons and 3 episodes in.
Correct.
The only characters that I remember from the first few seasons that aren't present now that I felt like that I thought would survive, and I don't know if they're dead or not. Maybe they're just not in this episode. This appears to be everyone who's still alive is in this episode.
Yeah, everybody except the queen.
Okay, the 2 people who were in cousin or brother and sister but in love, the Lannisters.
Yeah.
Prince Charming from Shrek and his sister.
Yeah.
Are they dead?
No, Jamie Lannister's in this episode. He's the guy with the sword and the red armor.
Does he look different?
Yeah, significantly.
Okay.
He had all his hair cut off, he lost a hand. He's not blonde anymore because apparently that's what happens to the Lannisters when you cut their hair off. Huh. I don't know why. They both had long blonde hair and now they don't.
Reasonable for me to have not caught that
Correct.
detail,
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm just telling you, he's still there and she's still alive. She is currently the queen, as she has had a husband, 2 sons, and a daughter die.
Okay. So, yeah, from season 1, those are pretty much the only characters that I didn't recognize in this episode. Like, I was like, Jon Snow's still alive, Arya Stark's still alive, Bran's still alive, Peter Dinklage is still alive. The girl Peter Dinklage was married to, Sansa Stark.
How did you know they were married? Oh, they said
it's in this episode.
Yeah, it's in this episode. Right.
Yeah.
I've watched the entire series in like the past 14 days. So like I might have a couple details confused on like when it actually happened.
So here's an important thing to note about this episode is there is almost no dialogue. So just about everything that was said I caught.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It is very much just, and they do this pretty much once every other season, where there's just like an entire episode that is a battle. I mean, obviously not entire episodes on this scale, but like there's one episode every other season where it's like, okay, we got to actually fight now. We've been talking for 12 episodes.
Right.
We're gonna have to do something.
The Red Wedding, etc.
Red Wedding actually took like 30 seconds.
It
wasn't even a battle. Yeah. That was an assassination.
Anyway, the reason I like the night scene is because there's a character in this episode. I have no idea the name of this character. No idea when they were introduced. Don't know if I've already met them. But there's a character in this episode that like it sort of starts and ends with, and it's the like fire witch lady.
Ah, the Lady Melisandre. You have not.
Lady Melisandre. Is that a character I should know?
You have not been introduced to her at the point to which you have watched.
Okay. So the episode's about Lady Melisandre. So like anytime they light the fires or anything, it's this like intense contrast, which is what the battle's all about, right? It's the black dragons versus the ice dragons. It's the red fire versus the blue fire. It's the night versus the white walkers. Yeah. Like the whole thing is about nighttime. So I get it. And I think that it makes sense. I do think it's a little bit weird that like the characters you're supposed to be cheering for are the dark side, but whatever.
Yeah, because so the whole series is called A Song of Ice and Fire. That's like the book series. That's the grand universe. And so you obviously have the side representing ice and the side representing fire. It just happens to be in this case, fire is usually red, especially is usually the symbol of evil, but in this case the ice side is literally ice zombies that want to destroy the world. Like that is their whole motion. They are led by the Night King. to take over the world.
You mean a Alolan Darth Maul?
Yeah. He's
Okay.
ice fighting instead of firefighting.
Right. A few comments on that just from like a $15 million budget standpoint. I
hold
thought
on.
that dude...
Sorry, you were saying something
ahead.
about the red person, or did you finish that thought?
I just think that the episode's about this character.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
It starts with her lighting the swords, and then it ends with her dying.
For sure. And she has
it's all
been
about her.
She's been a contentious character throughout the history of the show.
Right. She's sort of like the ancient elves in Lord of the Rings, where it's like, are they really on the side of man, or are they on the side of not war?
Well, it's not even that. It's like, she's complicated because she literally is essentially the voice, face, and power of God.
Okay, but now she's dead.
Correct. I mean, there are more of her.
Okay.
But, like, there are multiple different religious factions, but hers is the one that, like, lights stuff on fire.
Right.
Like, brings people back to life.
Like, genuinely light stuff.
Real
on fire.
power, creates a shadow monster that murders one of the kings. And all the other gods do absolutely nothing.
Gotcha.
So, like, obviously there's some resentment and some clashing and some confusion against her character. As you can see when she's like, you don't have to murder me, Davos. I'll be dead before the morning.
Davos is the one that looks like Bryan Cranston, or the one that doesn't?
He is the one that looks like Bryan Cranston.
Okay.
With the beard.
But there's another guy that has a beard.
Hold on.
That's like a little bit more trimmed.
Are you... Okay, hang on. I'm dropping him into Skype.
Okay.
If I can get Skype to... Oh, there we go. Nope, maybe I'm not.
I know,
He's...
it's so frustrating with this.
He's that guy.
Okay. That is not the Bryan Cranston guy.
He sort of looks like Bryan Cranston. Who do you think looks like Bryan Cranston?
There's an... early in the episode, he's featured a lot. Let me see. Maybe this is Jaime Lannister. I don't know. I thought it was some bullshit that Tyrion Lannister wasn't fighting.
So did he.
Yeah, he was like, I should be up there.
He thought it was... In the previous episode, we understand that Tyrion thinks it's... Peter Dinklage thinks it's not. Cool, that's Jaime Lannister. I'm trying to remember who
No,
you're
not
talking
that
about.
dude either. It's a dude. He's featured a lot in the show. I'll pull it up. Don't you worry about it. Don't stress over it.
Okay. Does he have like...
I'll
Are you
find
talking
it.
about the guy with the big red beard?
No, he doesn't have a big red beard. That's what's confusing me.
I'm trying to think of who you're talking about. I'm missing a character here that should be obvious, but it's not.
Ian Glenn's character. He plays
Oh,
Jorah.
Jorah. I don't think he looks like Bryan Cranston.
Looks exactly like Bryan Cranston. You're right. It doesn't look like him. He is.
He's not Bryan Cranston. I don't think he looks like Bryan Cranston. No, that's okay. So he's Jorah. He is. I don't think you've been introduced to him. He shows up in episode 1, I think. But he's like Daenerys's like earliest friend.
Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah,
She's the dragon lady.
she's the dragon lady.
And now Jon Snow rides dragons as well.
Because he's also a dragon person.
Oh,
so
okay, so he is also
was
Dragonborn.
originally believed to be the bastard son of Ned Stark and some random woman, some tavern wench. But he is actually, in truth, the trueborn son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark, Ned's sister.
So Ned has nothing to do with it.
Yes, Ned brought him home from the war to
Okay,
protect
as long
him.
as we're talking about characters.
Go ahead.
Season 1 characters I thought would be dead at this point. Samwell Tarly.
Oh no, he was never gonna die. That's
Okay,
his
well,
whole
then
thing.
He deserves
He's
to
like
sit on the throne.
he's like the fat friend that shouldn't make it but always makes it. He was the first person
he made
to
it
kill.
again, right?
He was the first person in history to kill a White Walker.
Episode starts with him. I think he's going to be on the throne at the end because the only guy that I noticed dying in this episode was the only character that I was like, that guy. I like this. If I watch this show, this is a character I like, and he died in this episode.
Which is...
The last guy protecting Bran.
Oh, Theon?
Yeah, I was like, that guy seems cool. He's an archer. He seems like a neat guy.
You have to watch this show now.
Alfie Allen.
You have to
Why?
watch this
Is
show.
Alfie Allen not the guy?
No, absolutely not. I mean, you could make an argument for him there at the end, but like it was for a long time just an absolutely reprehensible character.
I mean, like, maybe, but at the end of Gossip Girl, you're like, Chuck Bass is a great character, even though in the first episode he tries to rape a 14-year-old.
Oh man, Theon is an interesting character. Yeah, no, he's dead though. He would not have a claim to the Iron Throne over Jon or really anybody else.
Anyway, I thought Alolan Darth Maul. This is what I was talking about before. In terms
CGI,
of a $15 million budget, CGI was literal garbage on that dude.
Yes.
Took me right out of it. Took me right out.
Yeah, it's just been like getting progressively worse as the series goes on. I don't know why.
Why don't they do a practical costume?
I have no idea. I have no clue.
That took me right out of it. But on the flip side of that, there were shots in this episode that I would set as my wallpaper and never change.
Like which ones?
Really, the only one that comes to mind is when Jon Snow and Daenerys are both flying their dragons like over the clouds and the moon's behind them, and you've got it like the dragons and the moon on one monitor and just clouds on the other monitor.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, the
That was sweet.
The How to Train Your Dragon scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And there are some great battle scenes as well. Some great single shots. Like there's one I think that I could think of as people would have behind their monitor where you see John in the bottom third of the screen, like hiding behind some wood with his sword drawn, and on the top 2/3 of the screen is Viserion, the ice dragon, just like roaring ice fire into the sky on the burning
that was
castle.
cool too. I also thought that was cool. Yeah.
Which I don't know what John thought he was gonna do in that scene before.
Hey, he's the Dragonborn. He was gonna Fusro Da that thing into tomorrow.
He found out he was the Dragonborn like approximately 45 minutes ago.
Really?
Yeah, basically.
So he is not like a trained dragon flyer.
No. So in the first episode of the season, he learned to ride the dragon, and then he and Daenerys boned, and then he comes back and Sam's like, oh, by the way, she's actually your aunt.
I mean, whatever. This is Game of Thrones. There's not like Facebook or anything.
Well, I mean, that was the whole thing, though, is the Targaryens were like notoriously incestuous people.
What a weird situation to be in. If there's one thing of culture is that a switchblade?
What? No, it's not an
In your
actual
hand?
knife. It doesn't have a blade.
What are you doing with it?
Just messing with it.
That's scary.
It's a balisong. It's not a switchblade.
What's a ballad song?
It's one of these.
Ballad song of Ice and Fire?
Balisong of Ice and Fire, yeah. I don't know.
don't
You
like
say this as though you haven't just like pulled knives out before on the podcast.
Nobody can see me except you.
Yeah, they can't see me either, Ver.
Oh, that's true.
It's not like we just post a video stream of me and not you.
I will listen. There's a lot of retreating going on in this battle, which was a smart move. This operation, if they knew that it was like a hive mind thing, and I have no idea if they did or not.
They did.
But if they knew, then they needed to send in a spy on the inside to take care of this problem. Because that guy, he went down pretty easy.
Previously, he has not exposed himself so easily. And also, yeah, that is a big complaint that a lot of like diehard fans of the show are having, is that like, this is the conflict you've been leading up to for, I don't know, 10 years. And it just kind of like, stab, poof, bye.
Right. And like, I didn't know it was going to be a hive thing. I thought they were going to, hello, Davos. Picture of Davos just pulled up on my screen out of nowhere. Davos. Ned Stark.
Yeah, no, you the viewer would know that they're a hive mind. That is tackled in.
So I would have known that.
Yeah, that is tackled in, because when you kill one of the like there was the Night King, and then he had his like long-haired buddies.
He had like the wraiths.
Yeah, basically.
Ring wraiths.
So they're the.
I say this like I'm really up to speed on Lord of the Rings. I don't know what's going on there either.
They're essentially his, field commanders or whatever, and every one of the dead who was turned by an individual one of those is attached to them.
Okay, so they're a hive as well.
Well, it's all one hive leading up to the Night King, obviously.
I did like the scene, and this is sort of an endgame spoiler.
No, we're not spoiling Endgame in this episode. None at all.
Okay. Well, I did like the scene where Jon Snow was like, I'm going to go kill him myself. And then he was like, I'm going to be a necromancer to your face. And he rose all the dead, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was rad. That's the first time you've like seen that happen beyond like one individual person where their eyes turn blue and they start walking again.
Okay. I can totally see why people watching this were like, this is amazing, and this is everything I've ever wanted, and these are really emotional moments. But I still feel like, even as a casual viewer of the show, and maybe this is my own naivety, but as a casual viewer of the show, I was like, okay, but that person's not going to die. So,
well, the thing, this was a very small amount of death compared to what was sort of predicted,
right?
But not even predicted by like speculation, predicted by like the way the last episode shaked out,
right? I didn't know Daenerys Targaryen was going to be skilled with a sword, so when she fell off her dragon, I was like, oh my god,
that's the first time she's ever picked up a weapon,
right? So I was like, oh my god, something real. I'm going to witness something very cool, but she didn't die.
Yeah, no, she is previously. Everybody else has done the killing for her.
Okay, so she, like, when she picked up that sword,
right,
it didn't make any sense.
Well, see, this is a big thing for her, like, this whole situation, because, like, so, I don't know if you know this, but she can't be harmed by fire.
Oh, that's neat.
She is, like, immune to fire, and there's more than one scene, I think there's 3 total in the series, where she just, like, chills out inside a burning building, while it burns to the ground, and then walks out, like, completely nude, just like, what up, I'm the Dragon Queen.
There were no boobs in this episode.
Yeah.
None boobs. I've seen a few episodes of this show, and I've seen a lot of boobs. I remember there was a black lady who's in the basement with Peter Dinklage. In one of her first episodes, she's introduced naked.
Huh? Oh, Missandei?
Sure.
I don't think...
Kind of a light-skinned girl.
Yeah, I don't think you would know her.
I don't know.
She doesn't show up until, I think, the 2nd or 3rd season.
I don't know. I've seen a few episodes.
So she's attached to Daenerys' army, the Unsullied.
Okay.
And those are the guys that go, huh! when they do stuff.
Gotcha.
And they are a former slave army comprised entirely of eunuchs. This is a show that just sounds dumb as shit when you're trying to explain it out loud.
Maybe it is.
This is the big problem with this show, is like you try to explain it to somebody that hasn't watched it, and you say sentences like that, and you're like, wait a minute.
Wait, is this show dumb?
Is this show dumb?
I don't know how well it will age. I'll be honest with you. I think it's done amazing things for like cinema, and the reason we're reviewing this is because this is a major cinematic event, even if it is on HBO.
Right. Like there has never been anything like this show.
No, there definitely hasn't. But that doesn't mean that it will be good forever. I'm not saying it won't either. I'm just saying I don't know what the future holds for the old GOT.
I mean, I definitely think that
I know it'll always have fans.
Yeah, well, I think that it'll go through a resurgence, and not that it needs a resurgence, but I think it'll die off for a year or two, and then they'll sell it out for syndication, and it'll go through a resurgence.
Well, and it'll be on God or More, and like,
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, which house are you?
Also, if George R. R. Martin ever actually finishes another book, then it'll go through a thing.
I'll tell you one thing about those books. They are way too long. I mean, I know that's like the high fantasy brand.
Yeah.
But like, high fantasy, you need to chill. You're asking a lot of book from me. One of them is a 47-hour audiobook.
Yeah, the audiobooks are the way to go, too.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, the audiobooks are incredible. I think for either the fourth or fifth one, the narrator, Rodatrice, talked about it and was like, yeah, I had like 445 character voices.
That's a lot.
He's since passed on, actually, so I'm not sure how I would feel about another audiobook, just because I do think that they were probably the pinnacle of single narration that I've heard. But the audiobooks are the way to go. They are incredibly long and incredibly detailed, though. Like,
because the world building necessary to make it like work, and this is the same problem with Lord of the Rings, which is the only other high fantasy I really know anything about, is like, there's just so many, you have to read like a freaking Bible, you know, Aragorn, son of Arathorn, son of Muhammad, son of Peter.
Oh yeah, for sure. It definitely, yeah, everybody, you know, they a lot of times when even in the show, when like a king or something is introduced, it's just like, you now have the pleasure of addressing Robert Baratheon, the first of his name, of House Baratheon, King of the Andals and the First Men, Lord Protector of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm.
Right. It's a lot of detail. It's a lot of detail.
Yeah.
But this episode's very cool. It watches the cinematic experiment here to me was less about the 50-minute battle and more about the absolute lack of dialogue.
Yeah, there have been several shining examples throughout the show of like how you can tell parts, at least, of a story with like minimal dialogue.
Well, and I think that's a tough thing to do when you've got this whole ensemble of people, including tons of stunt people, I would imagine, for an example like this, where the story is told through the choreography much, much more than it is. Like when you get the script, if you're Peter Dinklage, you're like, I have no idea what happens in this episode. Right. Like, I can memorize my lines, that's fine, but...
Me and Sophie Turner are going to go hang out in the crypt.
Right, which is a weird place to hang out.
I agree.
That they're fighting a necromancer.
Yeah, I don't know how, and nobody thought of that, and that's a big criticism I've heard so far, because in the last episode they made a big deal of like, you're gonna go hide in the crypt, it's the safest place in Winterfell. And I'm sitting there like, no it ain't. You're gonna have Sean Bean's head like rolling down, balling down the hallway, like snipping at people.
Tell me why they're fighting this fight at all, because to me, like the show, the fans are all talking about who's gonna sit on the Iron Throne in 2 episodes, right?
3, yeah.
3 episodes. So why kill all the potential candidates in this episode?
They didn't kill any of the potential candidates.
Well, right, but like, why potentially kill all the potential candidates? Also, it's Bran Stark. I hate to tell everybody.
It's not.
I hate that I have to tell the world. Bran Stark sits on the Iron Throne. It's a compelling story.
He won't be.
Already in a chair. He's already in a chair.
He's
a chair that today would be made of iron. I'm a genius.
He's not Bran Stark anymore. He's the Three-Eyed Raven.
Whatever. The closed captions here keep opening his lines with Bran.
I mean, yeah. I will tell you that at the end of season 7, the last thing you saw was snow in Winterfell. And not in Winterfell, in the King's Landing, the kingdom, the capital.
So you think Jon Snow is the
Well, it had never snowed there
King
before.
It
had never snowed there before.
That's because winter is coming.
Well, winter had previously come many, many times. Although, how familiar are you with how weather and like seasons work in this show?
Not very well at all. My understanding is it has to do with the power of the Night King.
That's the theory, but again, it's like that's sort of like a religious myth.
Okay.
Like nobody believes in the Night King and the White Walkers and the Army of the Dead. Nobody, and the Long Night. Nobody believes in that. Like,
But it happened.
but it happens. The first thing you see in the first episode is some Matt Damon lookalike getting murdered by a zombie.
I do remember that.
Yeah. And even like Ned Stark, like the logical guy, when one of the Night's Watch people comes and tells him like, hey, by the way, the dead are walking, he's just like, I don't believe you. I only fight for justice. And then cuts his head off.
Head chopped off, yeah.
Well, no, Ned Stark cuts that guy's head off, and then he gets his own head chopped off.
So did the Long Night Army, were they aware that they were fighting zombies that couldn't die?
Which army?
The one that won.
Yeah, they knew. They're trying to kill the Night King. They know if they kill the Night King, the army will die.
Okay. Were there any zombies? I know Chris Stapleton was in this episode, but were there any?
Was?
Yeah, he's in it for just a second. He's one of the zombies that stands near the Night King
Interesting.
when he attacks Bran.
One of the actual White Walkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in it for like he doesn't
That's.
have a line or anything.
That has not been uncommon throughout the history of the show.
Right. That.
Yeah, just random famous people have ended up there. And like everybody was mad because Ed Sheeran was on it.
I'm Team Ed Sheeran. I missed the boat where we all hate Ed Sheeran. And I'm in.
I mean, same. But he came in and like sang a song as like a Lannister armyman, and everybody was like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen."
Why?
It's not. It's a pretty common thing that happens throughout the show that they'll just show people like singing around a fire.
I think if he sang A-Team, that would have been a little.
Yeah,
wild.
if he's just sitting there like, gonna pick up the pieces and build a Lego house.
Like, what's a Lego?
What's a Lego?
The things from the intro.
I do. Like, granted, I got sick of it after like 2 episodes, but I do always love the intro for the show. And they have made
God, it's like 100 years long.
Yeah, it is. It is. I skipped it every single episode of my most recent rewatch. Although it is different this season, and it's different for every season, but it is like massively different this season.
It's long.
It is long, but it's good to watch it like once a season because it gives you like an idea of what places are going to be important during the season.
Right.
But yeah, so basically, what questions do you have? What can I clarify?
I've been asking a lot of the questions that genuinely come to mind. Now, I've seen a lot of Twitter talking about Arya Stark. She's the one that does the thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talking about this girl is amazing. She's the most badass. She's not a Mary Sue. She's this like awesome character. And I'm with you. This was a cool thing that character did.
Yeah.
That Arya Stark did. This whole episode, I was like, man, I'm in. You have a lot of scenes in this like restricted section of the library. I don't understand it all. I don't know why you even went to Hogwarts. I don't know what book you're looking for.
That whole sequence, I actually like stopped it and ran it back and started again to see if I like missed something as to like where the rest of the battle went. But all of a sudden it was just like it was her and a couple people like inside. Yeah, I had no idea. That was weird. It was a weird thing.
But I thought it was cool. And I thought everything she did was cool. But listen, Twitter, don't think I don't remember all of you hating this character at some point in the show's history.
Oh, I hated Arya for a long time. I will be straight up with that.
But all of you talking about, oh, I've always loved Arya Stark. She's amazing.
No, I will not be the one on Twitter saying that. I hated her guts for like 5 seasons.
I like this character. I think she's the one in the first episode of the show. She's the one that's like, I got a bow and arrow and I'm going to do the things the boys do, right?
Yeah.
I've liked this character from the start.
Yeah, I liked her then, but then you've also only seen 3 episodes.
Right. We're going to assume 3.
She gets very annoying. I don't know. It's it's one of those things where like there's a lot of important things going on and they cut to Arya just like being angry, just brooding.
Yeah, well, Spider-Man 3 is underrated.
And then she goes to Bravos across the narrow sea and...
she opens a big door.
Yeah, she opens a big door.
I remember watching that. We watched that in Connor's apartment.
Did you?
Yeah. All I remember is that character opening a big door. I don't know what happened before or after.
Yeah, she opens a big door to the House of Black and White. She becomes a faceless man, who are a league. I think there's only 3 of them, though. A league of, like, super awesome assassins that can put on other people's faces.
Been there.
And so and that's the real thing, is like, that's what people are talking about, though, is a lot of people are saying, oh, she's a Mary Sue, she doesn't deserve this, like, Jon deserves to have killed the Night King. And like,
let's define a Mary Sue real quick, because some of our listeners may not know.
Either way, she has been, we have seen her for 8 seasons, like, training for this specific moment.
Right.
Like, if anybody deserved to make this happen, it is Arya. It's not Jon. Jon was clearly about to just, like, square up man-to-man with a dragon and act like he was good to go. So, I don't think Jon deserved to be the one to kill the Night King.
Right. So, Mary Sue, for those of you who don't know, there's a lot of, I Googled Mary Sue, and the top 3 results are about Arya Stark. Mary Sue, originally in fan fiction, is a type of female character who is depicted as unrealistically lacking in flaws or weaknesses. But I've seen her bleed. I've seen her need to drop her knife and stab him with her other hand.
Right.
And I mean, she's not flawless.
No,
in any
by
way.
no means. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
a
I
regular
don't-
person.
Right. She's a regular person who's clearly trained for this. Now, like Captain America, that's a Mary Sue.
Yeah, absolutely. But you would never say that about Captain America because he's a man.
Right.
So there's no.
But like that dude,
Yeah.
that dude has America's ass.
What was I saying? But yeah, I know. I thought it was a great moment. It was spoiled for me because I didn't get to watch this until Monday morning.
I saw it on Twitter.
And so yeah, that ending with her stabbing the Night King with the Valyrian steel dagger that makes him explode. The White Walkers, by the way, can't be killed with normal weapons. They can be killed with dragon glass, which is obsidian, and also Valyrian steel, which is a special kind of steel that I think it's like. I don't remember what the trope is in like role-playing games and mythology and things like that, but it's the weapons that are made stronger by the things that they intake.
Yeah, like a basilisk thing.
Yeah, it's like the
sword of
Gryffindor. It's the sword of Gryffindor.
The sword of
basically.
Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like goblin magic. It is made stronger by the things it intakes, I think, so it is able to like absorb. I guess that's it's not really explained why it's a thing that kills White Walkers, but it's essentially, it's like goblin-made steel.
Because White Walkers can kill White Walkers.
There's only a few people that know how to work with Valyrian steel, and like Valyria is dead, so like there's only a certain amount of Valyrian steel available.
Is that what Samwise Gamgee had, was Valyrian steel daggers at the beginning?
Huh?
Sam.
Samuel
He was
Tarly?
yeah, he was like shaking his hands, then he got a pair of daggers in his hand.
No, those were the dragon glass, the obsidian daggers. You've seen, or you would have seen, like random B-roll cutscenes of dragon glass weapons being made over the last 2 episodes.
Gotcha.
Because at one point, the blacksmith, who was the bastard son of Robert Baratheon, former king of the Seven Realms or whatever, the guy who banged Arya in the previous episode, he's like a blacksmith, and she's like, "Can you make me a dragon glass staff?" And he's like, "Sure."
Can do, buddy.
And he's like, "This is going to take me a while." And then she throws like 47 daggers into the wall in the exact same spot. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it right now. Cool. You might be our best hope." So yeah, those are the only things that can kill the White Walkers. But yeah,
What about the dragons? What can kill the dragons?
pretty much anything. Like just normal weapons. If you can
Like
get
a well-placed arrow?
Yeah. Well, so in the previous season, Viserion, the dragon that is now the Ice Dragon, was turned by the Night King throwing a spear into his heart.
Yikes.
Like an ice spear.
Right. Now, he has an ice spear in this episode at one point.
Yeah. I think his plan is to turn the other dragons with said ice spears. There's 3 dragons, one of which is now R.I.P. because it was already dead, and then it was undead, and now it's dead. And that was Viserion. There's also Rhaegal, which is the one that Jon rides, and Drogon, which is the one that Daenerys rides.
Would these be obvious if I just watched the show?
Not in any way whatsoever. You know that Drogon is her favorite.
And that's the one she rides?
That's the one she rides. As far as which one was Viserion and which one was Rhaegal, I had to look it up when Viserion died. Before that, neither of them mattered individual of each other. Drogon is named
Targaryen.
Drogon is named for her dead brother, her dead husband, and then Viserion and Rhaegal are named for her dead brothers.
If Emilia Clarke doesn't actually sit on the Iron Throne, was it all worth it?
So here's the thing about this, okay? Let's talk about the politics of the Iron Throne here for a second, okay? I'm going to give you a deep dive into sort of how this happened, briefly. So, Daenerys' father was the king, right?
Right.
He was Aerys Targaryen, Aerys the second or third, Aerys Targaryen, and he was referred to as the Mad King. He summoned Ned Stark's father and brother to King's Landing to make them submit to him, and then he just burned them alive. And then Ned's best friend Robert, who ended up being king, started a war because of that. And the fact that Rhaegar, who is Daenerys' brother, kidnapped Ned's sister and married her in secret. So they were super mad about all that. And so
These people are bonkers.
they started a war, right? Okay, now I don't know if you're familiar with what happens, but in war, there's a winner and a loser, right?
Right.
And if your family loses the war, you don't get to be king anymore.
Right.
So Daenerys keeps going on and 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 on for 8 seasons about how she has a claim to the Iron Throne, but her family lost the war.
But she wouldn't keep going on and on if Emilia Clarke wasn't going to sit on the Iron Throne.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. But she has no particular claim to the Iron Throne. She keeps acting like she has some like birthright to it, which Jon would have birthright to it before her because he is her oldest brother's oldest son.
I'll be honest with you. What's the point of a king? They appear to have an insanely well-organized government capable of killing the Night King, which they've already done.
They have an incredibly disorganized system of government that falls apart pretty much every 15 minutes.
Okay, but like, why is that going to change when there is Jon Snow on the Iron Throne?
Well, the idea is that Jon or the next person to take over, which realistically is probably Fortnite, gonna be Jon.
Well, yeah, the show's about it, dude.
Yeah,
I've seen the first few episodes. I know.
Yeah, it's gonna be, and whatever.
It's Robin, dude. Ted meets her in the first episode.
The idea is that whoever takes over the throne next would actually be good at ruling, which nobody in previous has been good at ruling. They've been horrible, horrible people.
Somebody's got their head chopped off in this episode.
Well, except
Arya Stark did it.
Except Robert. He was all right. He was just bad at being king.
But he had the hand of the king.
Which was Ned Stark, which got him killed.
Yeah.
By the Lannisters.
I don't know, man. This thing is wild. This is a lot of battle. This is a lot of battle scene.
Well, it's the whole episode, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know how I feel about what's going to happen at the end. I don't know what's going to happen at the end. We still got 4 whole hours of show left.
How many episodes is that? Is that
3 episodes, hour and 20 minutes each.
I do not foresee a satisfying ending.
I don't either, honestly, and that begs the question: like, what would have been a satisfying ending? I don't know.
In the case of Avengers,
you're not going to.
I know.
We're not spoiling Endgame on this episode.
But it happened.
Correct.
There have been a lot of. Oh, this is what I was asking before. The raised, the Draugr.
The whites.
The white.
WIGHTS.
Are there any recognizable characters who are zombies in this episode?
Not until people are turned in the episode.
Who's turned in the episode?
The little girl that killed the giant, some of the other people that died on the battlefield. Really just her.
Is she somebody, or
she is?
Was she introduced
She
here?
is no. She's Lady Lyanna Mormont of House Mormont of Bear Island.
Okay, so she races motorcycles.
No,
that's the Isle of Man.
Yeah, no, Bear Island. She's Jorah Mormont, the guy you said looks like Bryan Cranston. She's his niece.
Gotcha. I don't like her as a character. She's about to. I'm watching the episode. I had the episode playing while we're talking so that I can reference. She's about to kill the giant. I don't like her. Not a fan.
I think you probably would.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I like the part where she kills the giant. I am a fan of that.
She's pretty bad. Apex Legends. Because it's like...
I did want her to get eaten, though.
There's this one reveal where, like, you don't really... they're going to talk to the Mormonts, and you don't really see what's going on, and Sansa's like, well, Lady Mormont, and it flips over to this, like, 10-year-old girl, who really just puts Jon in his place.
Do I like Jon Snow? Do people like Jon Snow?
Yeah,
I know that there's, like, a lot of, like, that's Winterfell's
Apex Legends.
But, like...
People like Jon Snow,
People like him.
People like Jon Snow. He's generally just considered to be the good guy.
Okay, yeah, this show's about that.
Like
dude.
he wants.
I hope you're aware.
Yeah, he wants the Night King to. That's all he cares about. That's the thing is his arc is done.
Exactly, and now there's 4 episodes left, and he gets to be king.
Probably, but like his whole thing is complete. His whole thing was to stop the Night King. Like he got killed and then came back to life to stop the Night King.
Wait a minute, he's immortal?
No, he was brought back by the Red Woman, the Lady Melisandre, who lit all the fires. He was brought back by the Lord of Light to finish his purpose on Earth.
I know you're saying Lady Melisandre lit all those fires, but I'm pretty sure it was just like little gas kits beneath them with a gas line running to them.
I mean, yes, but like that's not how that happened in the canon.
In the fiction.
You could say the same thing, like lightsabers are just sticks that are CGI'd later.
Yes, very good.
Anyway, so he was brought back by the Lord of Light, R'hllor, the god of fire, to fulfill his purpose on Earth. There's only ever been 2 people brought back to life, one of whom died in this episode, is the guy with the eye patch.
He got stabbed a bunch, right?
He got stabbed a bunch, yeah. Protecting Arya.
Yes. And then he like keeps walking.
Yeah, I mean, he died 7 times and came back to life 7 times.
That's a lot.
Yeah, well, his purpose on Earth wasn't finished yet.
I guess.
But yeah, he and Jon Snow are the only people that have, in memory, that have been brought back to life. There's talk that Jon was, quote, the prince who was promised by all the secret prophecies. And he's supposed to be the one who pulls the flaming sword, Lightbringer, out of the fire and takes control of the world.
But he didn't do that.
Yet.
But there's already a guy with a flaming sword.
No. Beric just puts a sword on fire. This is like a sword made of fire that brings light forever and conquers the long night.
So this long night situation, when it's over, the sun's not going to come up, or it will because the Night King is dead.
It will, yeah. The long night is the prophesied end of the world. It's Ragnarok.
Okay.
The long night is what happens when the Night King wins. It will never be daylight. It will never not be winter.
But now that the Night King is dead, unless there's a second secret Night King.
Yeah, unless there's a second secret, like little brief spoilers for the Meg here, unless there's a second secret shark,
right?
Then yeah, it's done. That whole thing is done. And granted, I would not be surprised if the series ended with, like, a dead hand rising out of the ground.
For season 9.
Well, for season never, probably.
I feel like I'm ready for a lot of these actors to be other things.
See, you say that, but then Sophie Turner Sophie Turner got a job as being an awful Jean Grey.
Yes, but she's not the X-Men nor the character from the show I would have put in X-Men.
Well, she is in this show quite a bit. She's one of Ned Stark's remaining alive children.
I would have taken
there were
Arya
6.
Stark.
There are now 4. Well, I guess John's not a child.
Macy Williams, she could have been a good rogue if we've got to do the X-Men
when
thing.
they started the First Class thing, she was like 12.
Okay, but they can start it over. If you're making me cast these characters as X-Men, I'm telling you what I would do today.
I mean, I'm not making you cast them as X-Men. I'm just saying that maybe you don't want these people to go be other things. Jon Snow is Eret, son of Eret, in the How to Train Your Dragon verse.
Yes. Is he a bigger character in the second movie or the TV shows?
He is a bigger character in the second movie. I don't know anything about the TV shows.
Okay.
He's like a main character in the second movie.
Okay, because I remember watching some of the promo stuff for the third movie, and it was like, Kit Harington and Dragons for How to Train Your Dragon. And then the movie came out, and I was like, this dude's barely in the movie.
Well, at that point, he was also like, Jon was the main character of Game of Thrones.
Right.
Which he is not the first build character.
Whomsoever is.
Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who is Jaime Lannister, who I think would make an excellent Kenobi.
Make good Bond.
James Bond doesn't have a beard.
Your mom doesn't have a beard.
Can't have James Bond with a beard.
Peter Dinklage's top build cast.
Well, I mean, not according to the credits.
Oh, that's just what it's showing on Rotten Tomatoes, which may very well just be most searched.
I mean, that's probably it. It's just, and it changes per season. But like, you know how Naveen Andrews is always the first name listed in Lost?
Yes. Who's Naveen Andrews?
Saeed Jarrah.
Oh, because he's in every episode.
Correct. But he was also just, I guess his agent booked him for first build.
Yeah. Even though that show is straight up about Matthew Fox and John Locke.
And Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah. Whom I love. I follow Evangeline Lilly on Instagram. Genuinely.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, most down-to-earth celebrities.
And this is the wild thing is like, I have watched Lost many times, but she's Hope Van Dyne.
Because of Ant-Man and the Wasp, though, I didn't think her role in the first one was that.
I didn't either, but it's
impressive.
like, that's just who I think of her as now. Like, I see her and I'm like, oh, yes, the Wasp. Like, that's just the power the MCU has over me.
I also just love Lost.
I do as well.
And the MCU, come to think of it.
But yeah, so I could definitely see where you're coming from, though, where if you watch the first couple episodes, you're like, yeah, okay, some people survive, some don't, and then like you get to this, and yeah, like, yeah, all the people I expected to survive are still here.
Yeah, I mean, I like, because you told me that both the people that I thought weren't here were here, so I don't know who died other than Ned Stark and Robert Baratheon.
A lot of people, but it's like people that were introduced after episode 3 and died before episode 70.
Well, they don't count. They were never going to make it anyway. It's called The Rise of Skywalker, Ethan, not The Rise of...
Well, I mean, the show's had like 7 kings die.
Yeah, but like Joffrey, you thought in season 4 or
I
whatever...
didn't think anything.
That dude was going to be the guy.
He dies in season 4.
I got you.
Yeah.
I'm more caught up on this stuff than you think.
He dies in season 4, episode 2, at what is referred to as the Purple Wedding.
Ah, goodbye.
Yeah, because he turns purple. That guy dies. Robb Stark dies. Joffrey's little brother dies.
No one really dies.
Natalie Dormer's character dies.
Ooh, Natalie Dormer. That's a person in this show that I thought was in here. I think I get Natalie Dormer, and Macy Williams mixed up, though.
Yeah, no. But
I mean, I understand that they're different people.
Natalie Dormer is introduced in season 2 and dies in season 6.
Who's the girl that's like, you know nothing, Jon Snow?
Ygritte.
Ygritte, is she dead?
She's dead, yeah.
See?
Shot through the heart by some little kid named Ollie, who then stabs Jon Snow in the heart.
This Ollie kid sounds like he should have been the one they sent towards the White Walkers.
No, Jon hung him.
Well, yeah, but if he's so good at stabbing people in the heart, and all they needed to do was stab one guy in like one spot.
I mean, it wasn't that easy until there was a battle.
Right. You couldn't just send Macy Williams up into the North.
Yeah. I mean, that was her plan, though. Like, once Joffrey died, because she was going to go to King's Landing and kill Joffrey herself. And then once Joffrey died, she was like, well, gonna go kill the Night King now.
And here she is.
Killing the Night King.
Killing the Night King.
Yeah, that moment was spoiled for me because somebody sent me an Instagram DM of a video of it, which I didn't even know was possible. And I clicked on it, and it was just Arya stabbing the Night King to the tune of I Just Had Sex by The Lonely Island.
I mean, that's pretty funny.
It was, but I didn't want to know.
Did she just have sex?
She did.
That recently happen?
She did, yeah. The previous episode, yeah.
Was she, like, of age when this show started to be having sex on screen?
No, she is now, though.
Okay, so that kind of makes me feel weird.
Yeah, a lot of people felt weird. She was
That
was like 13 or 12 or 13 when it started. She's 22 now.
That's weird.
I agree. Yeah. It's weird. And that's the thing is like, it's not weird for the character, but it's like weird for the actress.
I mean, At some point, you have to zoom out and be like, this is a show with I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's allowed. They did it. They got away with it. And she obviously consented to it as like an adult. And there's nothing wrong with sex work. Like, that's all fine. And there's nothing wrong with, wanting to be that person. But it just feels weird to me.
It definitely feels
Maybe
weird.
that makes me a curmudgeon.
No, it definitely feels weird. Like, you're not the only one that has that complaint, that grievance.
Okay.
For sure. Like, when that started happening, I was like, this is strange. Especially since I had just watched the entire show in, like, 3 weeks.
Right. So, like, she was 12 to you.
Yeah,
in
a
March.
fortnight ago. Not even March.
What is this? What you do all day? Is watch this show?
No, it's not that long.
It's like 70 hours.
It's not that long.
That's a long time.
You were talking about watching the MCU back to 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 back.
That's only like 50 something hours.
And yeah, a couple weeks ago, I pretty much did do this all day. I made a vlog about it. Thanks for watching my vlogs, man.
I do watch your vlogs. I remember you being like, Sir Davos, I'm Ned Stark, first of his name. Hand of the king. I just got killed. And then you did like the other voice and you like directed the whole thing yourself. It was like thoughts from the Game of Thrones. The woods.
Yep.
Got the wood. Got woods.
Got woods. Oh.
Got milk.
But anyway, yeah, she went from getting boned to killing the Night King in like 2 hours of real time. This show is definitely a show though that's designed to be watched. Like you can, in the era of Netflix original series that all come out at one time and like, binge watching, this is still a show designed to be watched week to week. Because like when Jon Snow dies at the end of episode 10 of season 5, it's like the last thing that happens. And then like he's brought back to life within the first 20 minutes of the first episode of season 6. And when there was an entire year between it was like, dang, okay. But then when I was watching it last week, I was like, all right, cool, click. Oh, and he's alive again.
Yay, welcome back. Right, it's the Infinity War problem.
For sure. Is it like, when you had a whole year between it, and then people that go watch it through the first time, they're like, okay, well, that sucks, and then Avengers Endgame spoiler redacted. You're welcome. Which is just gonna be weird for, like, rewatching and weird for, like, people watching for the first time. Anyway.
I do think I would really like to do events where we rent out a space. And I don't know if we do it for fans or if we like sponsor it for fans or what, where we go and it would be like a long experience you're signing yourself up for. Like it would be like the Bacon and Eggs day-long, night-long experience, right? Where you go and you watch Infinity War and then we do a full episode about it right there. And then you immediately watch Endgame and then we do a full episode on it.
Good lord.
Right there. Right. So it's like an 8-hour process, right? To just
yeah, that's 9 hours. Yeah.
9 hours. I mean, it doesn't have to be a 2-hour shindiggity. But you know what I'm saying? And like we serve dinner and we serve lunch depending upon which one you sign up for. It's a very long 18-hour day.
We do a matinee and a late show. Jesus Christ.
Right. It's a very, very long day.
I can tell you what I'm doing during Endgame is sleeping.
Right. It's like, I've seen it. I've made the jokes. I'm going to make the same jokes.
Right. That second viewing of Endgame, I am asleep.
But I think that would be a really fun experience. And we sell it, like, it's not cheap, okay? I would love for you to come to it for free. I really would. But this is a long thing. It's a very, honestly, my time's not free, man. This is 9 stinking hours. I'm making at least $10 an hour, period. But it doesn't even have to be a big crowd. You know what I'm saying? I'll take 15 people. I would do this for 15 people.
Okay.
At $150 a ticket.
Okay. I mean, we could make this happen. This is a realistic thing that we could do. We need, like, a room and a projector.
I have both of those things, but it's not at my house.
That would be weird.
Yeah, you cannot come to my house. But, you know what I'm saying? I think this is a real... And we make it fun, right? Like, it's not just some crappy movie theater seat. You sit on, like, a comfy chair.
Okay, then we would need a room and a projector and some comfy chairs.
Some comfy chairs.
This sounds increasingly like your living room.
My living room has 0 comfy chairs.
It can.
It could. I do have a projector for outside.
We just rent out Grand.
Grand the store?
Yeah.
I'd rather not. Oh, the thing with Jon Snow with the necromancers just happened. Made me think of Diablo 2. Any Diablo 2 stands out there? Please DM me. For the love of God, and tell me how to make it work on my Windows 10 computer with a decent processor. Because every time I try to install it, it's like, your computer's way too nice for this. You literally are not allowed to play this game.
I hate that. It's like, I want to play Windows 95 games, man. What are you talking about?
Right? What do you mean it's too nice?
Yeah, what do you mean my computer's too good for this?
And honestly, if the solution is I have to buy like a Windows XP computer that's just still in the box, like, just let me know. And what that would cost, and I'll do it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this can only run on Windows Me. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, so let me download Windows Me. Nope, can't do that.
Right. And it says, like, my computer's got this, like, run as Windows 95 option, but it doesn't mean that.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not being. Are you just trying to download Diablo 2 right now?
No.
Is that what you're doing during this episode? Just like, well,
No, it's just...
if Tyler
I think
zones
about-
out at some point,
I think about Diablo 2 at least 3 times a day.
thrice per diem.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we've talked about a TV show.
Do you think it's weird? I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think
Whatever.
it's fine. I mean, we're talking much more about just Game of Thrones in general than we are about season 8, episode 3, than Long Night.
Are you...
Because honestly, at the end of the day, I didn't really love this episode.
You know, I think it's a very cool thing for the reasons stated. I think for me, it was a very interesting thing to come into this like mid-season, late series episode and with really only like pop culture knowledge of the show, be able to watch it from beginning to end, know who are the important characters, and it's just, to me, it's a telling exercise in storytelling and cinematography.
For sure. I mean, and at the end of the day, battle is a universal language in movie,
right?
In filmed media.
To me, this watches much less like Helm's Deep, which I know is the comparison I keep making, and much more like the third act of Avengers.
Which Avengers?
1 with the Chitauri.
Like the Battle of New York part?
Yeah.
Interesting. Why do you say that?
Well, they have like the exact same ending, right?
Yeah. Wait, no. Tony
Where
Stark
Arya
definitely does
Stark-
not blow the Night King up in like a wormhole.
Well, no, but Arya Stark does, like right next to Bran. Stark kills the big bad.
Yeah.
Stark kills the center of the hive, right? And like, there's no hope for victory without this one small detail. And it's just this big faceless army that like they'll kill themselves to succeed. It's really a little bit more like Ultron. But with Ultron, they had to kill every single Ultron bot.
Correct. And people keep saying that the ending of this is a Deus Ex Machina, and then people keep getting angry about that and like, no, well, we've seen Arya training for this. But like at the same time, it kind of is, because like she comes out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah, she was in the library looking up books on Nicholas Flamel.
Right, and she just like jumps out of the ether. Like,
right. And gets choke slammed straight up John Cena style.
yeah. He just whips around like, gotcha.
Haha, gotcha. But he needed to turn around. That's where his exposed thigh was.
Did she stab him in the thigh?
That's what it looked like to me.
I thought it was
looked
like right in the gut.
Either way, not a place that would kill you from a stab wound.
Oh no! All she had to do was land the dagger.
And why'd you get so close? Why not like a little? That's the sound of me throwing daggers.
Because that would not be dramatic.
Who's the guy? Oh, it's that one dude. The dude that dies defending Daenerys Targaryen.
Jorah.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston guy.
Yeah. Yane.
Yeah. So he's been her like faithful servant, and then, well, technically he was hired by Robert to assassinate her when she was a child, air quote.
Chilled.
Because she's supposed to be like, I guess in the show they say she's 16, but in the book she was 14 when the show starts, or when everything starts. And so he's like her protector, sort of. He's pretending to be at first, and then he like falls in love with her, which is weird. And then he like stops plans to assassinate her. Then she finds out about it and sends him away, and then he comes back, and then she finds out about it and sends him away again, and then he comes back again, but he has like grayscale, which is a disease that turns you into stone, and he goes to the Citadel where Samwell Tarly is studying, and Sam cures him, and then he goes back to Daenerys, and she's all like, everything is forgiven.
Wild.
And then he dies for her.
Like you do.
He was banished to the other continent by Ned Stark because he was a slaver.
I don't like that.
Yeah, no, Westeros does not have slaves, but Essos, the other continent, has slaves on like half of it. And Jorah was like, I'm gonna bring slaving to Westeros. And Ned Stark was like, no. Negative Ghost Rider. And so he was expelled from Westeros by Ned Stark. And Jon's sword was originally supposed to be Jorah's. It's called Longclaw. As in all high fantasy, there's lots of swords with names.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not in on high fantasy, and that's part of my problem with this whole shindiggity.
I would say most fans of the show aren't into high fantasy.
You don't think so? You don't think all these people are reading like obscure novels by no-name authors?
No, I don't think so.
Wild.
I think
Wow.
that the Game of
you ever
Thrones, the
met
TV
a-
show, is their only foray into high fantasy.
Maybe Lord of the Rings. Which, have you ever met like a proper high fantasy fan?
Yes.
Man, you want to talk about the worst human beings on earth.
I wouldn't say that too loud.
I mean, listen, I love you. Thank you so much for the time and effort you dedicate to your favorite authors.
Like, John Negroni writes high fantasy.
Would you call that high fantasy?
He calls it high fantasy.
I love John Negroni, so...
I don't know.
Here's my thing.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Here's my thing with high fantasy, is if I ask you what kind of books you like, and we start talking, and you're like, I only read this one extremely obscure series to which there are 50 novels, all of which are 5,000 pages in length. It's like, I'm sorry, don't get mad. I don't know what you're talking about. Also, we have nothing to talk about.
Right. Have you read Harry Potter?
Right. That's what I meant when I said,
Yeah.
do you like fantasy?
You asked if I like fantasy. I said yes because I've read the Lord of the Rings books.
Right. I know about Narnia and Hogwarts.
Yeah, when you start talking to people that read high fantasy, these are the worst kind of people. They read high fantasy, they're like, Lord of the Rings, Tolkien? That guy's not fantasy.
Guy's a hack.
Yeah. Like,
Let me tell you who was not a hack was Tolkien.
J.R.R. Tolkien, not a hack.
Maybe that's the salesman in me that's like, he sold a lot more copies than that dude I've never heard of. And I know his name. And he's dead.
I mean, the fact of it is, it's like Lord of the Rings sold more copies because it was better.
Right. It was not a marketing thing in 1938 or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I just butchered that date.
He also just like basically invented high fantasy.
Right.
Like he came fairly shortly after the idea of fiction.
Did he? When was the last one? Was like 1955?
Was it that recently?
Yeah, they're not that old. I could be blowing smoke. I know there was a book of some sorts that was released not too long ago.
There's about to be a movie.
Really?
Yeah, a biopic.
July 29th, 1954.
Huh. See, I was thinking like Industrial Revolution, like just post Dickens.
No. Fellowship was 1954, Silmarillion was 77, and The Hobbit was 37.
Okay, so 37.
Interestingly
I'm not
enough-
that far off with 37. Like that's old. That's a long time ago.
Interestingly enough, the original cover for The Hobbit, a lot of people don't know this, actually had Martin Freeman on it.
Did it?
Yeah.
The Prince Who Was
as
Promised.
Bilbo. Yeah, a lot of people don't know.
Here's what I love about the Game of Thrones averse, is that like magic is just not a thing.
What? Yes, it is. I just watched a lady light things on fire with her hands.
Right.
And I watched another guy
They repeatedly like try to burn her as a witch. She's considered like evil because she does magic.
Okay.
And it's not even magic. It's literally like the power of God.
Right. What about this Bran Stark thing where he's got the eyes of the crows?
So he's a warg.
What he is he still injured from watching his sibling or watching the other two bone in the first episode? Is that why he's in the chair?
Yeah. He never heals.
Okay.
So the knife that Arya kills the Night King with was the knife that was used to incite the whole war. It's the reason Ned Stark like started a war with the Lannisters in the first place, because that knife was used by an assassin on Cersei Lannister's dime to try to kill Bran in like episode 2 or 3. And so that dagger was then used to kill the Night King. It was given to Arya by Bran, who basically just had like a Doctor Strange moment and was like, I watched 14 million ways that this war goes down and this is the way it ends. And was like, here, Arya, have this dagger.
Does the Night King, is there ever a scene where this dude's got a really eloquent monologue?
He never says a word ever.
I do not like that.
He is completely nonverbal.
I do not like that. I'm a thumbs down on that.
Why is that?
I think, like, I don't know. I think you've got not a very compelling evil here. I don't understand his motivations.
His motivations are to watch the world turn to ice.
Yeah, see, I'm not seeing it.
I mean, that's what it is, though. He sort of exists because he has to. It's one of those things where, like, why would people talk about it so much? Why would it be? Because you see throughout the whole show that, like, all of the stories are true.
Right.
Like, all the legends,
Talos.
all the monster stories are true. Like, he exists because he says they say he does. Like, why would people worry about the Long Night if it didn't exist?
But this was like a prophesied future event, not like...
It was a prophesied future event that made its way into folklore.
How would he have won this night? If he killed all the potential throne candidates?
If he killed everyone.
Oh, so he just wants all the people to die.
All of them, yeah. Everybody. The whole world. He wants the whole world to march with him.
Oh, and he only has an army of
The dead
folks.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to die to be turned. They're zombies.
Right.
Yeah, they're literally zombies. We gotta get some... I don't feel like we've done a good job of being humorous in this episode. We gotta get some humor in here.
All right, do you have a toothpaste and orange juice?
I don't, though. Is the problem.
Let me see if I can write up a joke real quick.
See if I can dredge up a toothpaste and orange juice. See, the thing is, like, I don't have a toothpaste and orange juice. I had a wonderful weekend, like, full of interactions with kind people.
Well, let me run to the restroom real quick
Okay.
and see if I can drum up a joke.
Let me go on Twitter and become angry at something.
Okay. Monsieur?
Hello.
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 Do you have a joke?
I don't know, man. I tried to come up with toothpaste and orange juice. Here's the problem. All I can think about is Avengers Endgame, and it just makes me so happy.
I know. I was thinking about that. Okay, so I just took a brief little potty break, and I saw somebody, Rotten Tomatoes posted a thing about see where Avengers Endgame ranks with the greatest superhero movies of all time. And so to me, the conversation immediately goes, okay, there's only one other competitor for greatest superhero movie of all time.
Right.
And it's The Dark Knight.
Yeah, correct.
And with with event like, and I will not hear your arguments otherwise. It's not Into the Spider-Verse. It's not Spider-Man 2. It's not Infinity War. It's not Ragnarok. Nothing comes close.
Correct. Well, I mean, it could never be Infinity War because this is so much better than Infinity War.
Right. And I love Infinity War. I love that movie. I will probably watch it again before the week is over. But when it comes to the conversation of, is it The Dark Knight or is it Endgame, we have truly reached a plateau of, I'm not even going to choose. I would never dare say one of those was better than the other.
Fair. We did, though.
No, is The Dark Knight on this year's?
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, if you were to ask me to put those two movies next to each other today, I would be like Endgame because it's still in theaters and I can only see it in the best possible way to see it. But ask me 2 years from now.
I'll tell you, because it is. I'll tell you why I take Endgame over The Dark Knight. Because Endgame right now stands a chance at being, and obviously will be, the number one best-selling movie ever. Which means that we get a truly amazing film as the number one best-selling movie ever, instead of Avatar.
I think Avatar's a great film. I don't know that I agree with you that it's not worthy of number one all
right,
time.
Number one, that's the thing. Is like it was a fluke.
Right. It was. I mean, it did extremely well in the Asian markets, and that's why it is where it is.
I mean, I think you and I saw it together 5 times, so we didn't help.
Right, and I loved Avatar when it was in theaters, and that's and one of the big problems with Avatar that people don't understand is that the theater experience of seeing Avatar in 2007
is so much more important.
is unlike anything that had ever come before.
Right, as soon as you watch it on the small screen, it's ruined.
Right, it's like oh yeah, he's a fish out of water thing, and he meets the girl. Like
and
nobody
you're like,
cares.
oh my god, it's a 3D movie. It's huge,
Right.
it's beautiful, it's got CGI like never been done before. And then you watch it now, and you're like, it just looks all right.
Right. I mean, it was pretty good for 07, I guess.
It doesn't hold up as well as Jurassic Park.
Right. But you don't remember what it was like in 2007.
I remember what it was like in 2007. That doesn't make me like want to watch it all the time. Anyway.
No.
So that would be my argument for Dark Knight, or for Endgame over Dark Knight, is just because it has the chance to be everything that, like, to claim that, like, an MCU movie is the best-selling movie ever. Like, if you'd have told me that in 2008, I would have been like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah. Iron Man, okay, whatever. But yeah, no, I tried to go on Twitter. I was like, I can do this. Twitter will make me mad. It can irritate the youth. If there's one thing I can count on, the youth can irritate me right now. But, like, I literally opened and I saw the first thing I saw was a picture of a girl who had her guinea pigs dressed as Captain Marvel and Spider-Man.
Oh, I love it.
And I was just like, I
I'm all
can't,
in.
like, there's no way I can be upset about anything right now. It was just a guinea pig, and she gave it like a comb over.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'll have to.
That's funny.
And then I immediately lost, like, Twitter did the thing where it was like, okay, we're going to show you this for a second, and then refresh. And it's gone forever.
Refresh top tweets first.
And now it's gone forever, and I can't even find the picture anymore.
I will say this: Avengers Endgame was better than The Long Night.
It was better than one single episode of a TV show? Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
It cost
I don't know.
$350 million.
I can't speak for listen. This episode was probably better than like Pirates 4, if memory serves correctly.
Correct, but like that shouldn't be the case.
If memory serves, I don't know where I'm going with this because that was my thing with Pirates 4. I've seen some people out there that are like, "Oh, The Long Night was better than Endgame," and like, listen, if you think that, that's totally fine. This is an amazing piece of art.
Right, that just says you're way
like,
more into Game of Thrones than Marvel,
it
and they
says
came
you're
out on the same weekend. Like,
right, you are way more into Game of Thrones than I am into Marvel, and I am way more into Marvel than I am this show I don't even watch.
right,
And
I watch both of them. Like, I've been watching both of them for pretty much the same amount of time. Close.
I do think it's important. I watched all the MCU movies as they came out in theaters, with the exception of, I think, The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, I missed 3 or 4.
But I was not invested the way that we are now, really.
No, until we had the show.
Until probably phase 3 or until we had the show.
Yeah, not even in phase 3, because when I saw Doctor Strange on Netflix, I was like, this is all right.
Right.
And then we started the show,
Right,
and
so-
like Thor Ragnarok came out immediately after that, and that was just like the only spark I needed to love the MCU.
Right. I was actually just looking through our old documents, and it's like we watched, I mean, you know, if you go back through our old episodes, you can see the order we did it in. But like the Thor Ragnarok bonus episode is like the 5th episode of our show.
Yeah, it's like the 5th or 6th. I think it came before. It definitely came before we did Dark World.
Yeah.
Because I had never seen Dark World, and I remember the question was, do I bother watching Dark World like this week to catch up, and then again in like a week and a half? Because at that point in my life, like the $3 to rent it like hurt.
Yeah, which is an exciting thing I can announce is that when I need to rent movies for this show, I just do it.
Yeah, we're both in a little bit better that position. The lovely people that support our show on Patreon paid for us to go see Avengers Endgame.
Yes, you did.
They paid for me to see it twice.
You will likely pay for me to see it 3 or 4 or 7.
Yeah, you've already paid for me to see it twice. And the lovely people that donate to the Super Carlin Brothers on Patreon paid for me to see it once.
Right. Which, thank you, Super Carlin Brothers, for everything you did.
We gotta be funny though. I'm sitting there like, because we did like an hour and 15 minutes of like deep dive into Game of Thrones.
Well,
which is
I think
good.
I told some jokes in there.
I mean, but yeah, I just like I don't know. I just don't feel like we're being funny right now. Like last week we were funny.
I don't know. I'm not a funny guy. That's the thing. I'll tell you what's really been bugging me lately. I don't know if
I can hear the messages of people on Thursday listening to this, just the messages slamming into Discord, just like, Tyler, how dare you, woke Barbie.
Listen, I'm sorry. I'm not a funny guy. If you want to know something that's been bothering me lately, and it's like, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that it bothers me, Ethan.
Okay.
Where I work, my day job, super exciting. I got a new day job. I love my day job.
That's weird because it sounds like you're about to complain about it.
No, I'm actually going to complain. It'll make sense. I love my new job. I love everybody that I work with. There are like listeners of our show that I walked in and met on my first day. There are just the nicest people in the world, a bunch of big MCU fans, a bunch of big Harry Potter fans, and everyone is super nice, and I love the product. I love what we do. I believe in all of it. So I'm very excited about my new job. We have this thing where if we hit our sales goal every month, we get to dress casual for the next month. So, or like business, like collared shirt and jeans, like as business casual as you can get. Not even tucked into your jeans.
Yeah, because that's the worst look ever.
What?
Like polo shirt tucked into jeans.
Oh, I don't hate
anything tucked into jeans. It's a bad look.
I'm a guy.
That's a way to go really quick from like, I'm a casual business guy to like, I'm a cowboy.
No, I'm a dad. That's what I look like. Because everybody I work with wears tennis shoes. Because that's like what we do. So
yeah, you make tennis shoe inserts.
Well, we make shoe inserts altogether. But so
shoe inserts for like the active person though.
No,
really?
We do dress. Yeah.
I can't imagine putting inserts in my dress shoes.
They're a little bit different.
I'm never standing that much in dress shoes.
It's more of a it's a prescription. It's
Gotcha.
Not just like a comfy insole.
Gotcha.
But anyway. Every month we have this contest, and if we don't make the contest, we have to dress business the next month, like shirt and tie. And nobody's customer facing. You are not. If you are a purchaser of our product, you're not even allowed in our building. You have to wear a shirt and tie because you're here to do work, and that's what people who do work in this part of the building wear. Now we have hit our goal as long as I've been there, which hasn't even been a month, and we've got it for next month. I am so dreading the day where I have to wear a shirt and tie to work. And I'm so mad about it because I've always been a huge proponent of like, listen, I'm here for business dress. I think a nice pair of chinos.
I was going to say you are going hard back on your former statements about clothing.
Listen, I've worked a lot of jobs where I had to wear a shirt and tie. It has never particularly bothered me. A lot of guys will say things like, oh, if you wear a tie, it chokes you. No, it doesn't. If you wear an ill-fitting shirt, it chokes you. The tie shouldn't be tight on your neck at all. But I get it. I have ill-fitting shirts. I've been there. But like, I don't want to have to do it, Ethan. The thing is like wearing a polo shirt to work is such like a mind-blowing concept to me. I didn't even wear polo shirts for a long time because I got a weird body for polo shirts, but I bought some nice ones and I love it. I love wearing a polo shirt to work. And like part of our thing is that we can like work out during the day to get like our insurance paid for, which is amazeballs. And if I wear a shirt and tie, that's going to be miserable in like the 95-degree heat because we can work out. We can like walk on the treadmill in the company gym, which is fine. Or you can go outside and walk laps on the concrete and blacktop in the parking lot, which lately I have been doing because it's amazing outside.
Yeah.
But when it gets to be like 112 degrees and I don't want to be on a treadmill with a shirt and tie on.
I think you just bring a change of clothes.
But you do it like during lunch. You don't have to walk a mile. So if you have an hour lunch and you stay on campus, walking a mile takes like 12 minutes.
That's fair. Still, like I would just like go into the bathroom, put on some, if I have a lunch hour, yeah, and that was my goal. I would just go into the bathroom, change clothes, walk my mile, go back into the bathroom, change clothes again.
And then you would eat your Philly cheesesteak.
No, I'd eat my Philly cheesesteak in my sweat garb.
And we do have a gym and we do have showers there. And Emily and I both work there, and she works a slightly offset schedule from me. So I have to usually get there like an hour early anyway. So I just go into the gym, work out, and then shower and change. And then I don't have to do it on my lunch break.
I remember that there was a time where you were like, if we ever do this full time, you know, it's business attire at the office for like our professional podcaster job. And I was just sitting there like, yeah, you say that, but I'm 50% of this company.
Listen, I will, if we ever do this full time, if this is ever our profession, I will likely wear at least a collared shirt, probably 4 out of 5 days a week.
I mean, that's your prerogative.
That's me. I don't think I could make you do it. I think I would feel weird coming to work in like a tank top and shorts. That would be like, that would blow my mind.
I would not feel weird coming to my podcast job in a t-shirt and jeans.
Would you wear pants every day though?
Probably.
I'll tell you, that's one thing. You talk to these kids about school dress codes and they all complain about the dress codes. And like, I get it. They don't make clothes for people your size that comply with these school dress codes. But like grown people have no problem complying with these school dress. I never see men or women out in public.
All the time, like I have both shorts and tank tops that do not comply with the high school dress code.
Right, but you wouldn't wear them to work. And at school, you're at work.
No, I disagree with that entirely. I disagree with that statement entirely. I don't think that, like, you should have to dress business casual for school.
Here's what I think. I don't know that, like, I have a strong opinion on the dress codes. I don't know enough about it to care. And I've been out of high school for 8 years, but I agree with you that you shouldn't have to dress business casual to school. And if you're going to do the dress code the way it sounds like it's being run, then just say you have to dress business casual at school.
Right. It's like you got to wear like below the knee shorts
and a polo shirt.
Yeah. But like that's the thing is like in college I went to class plenty of times in like sweatpants and a hoodie.
Right.
And
I did too.
It did not change the way I was educated whatsoever.
I mean,
so that's always the argument. They're like, well, if you let kids dress however they want, if you let kids wear shorter than knee length shorts, they're gonna like do worse in school.
Oh, I thought it was you were gonna distract the other students.
Yeah, but the longer you start thinking about that reasoning, the creepier it gets.
Oh, 100%. Especially if you say things like you're going to distract the male faculty.
Right.
Like, whoa.
But like that's the argument with like business clothes at a non-customer facing job is like, you got to wear work clothes because you're at work. Like, this is how work dresses. Which is to me, that's such like an outdated, like our parents' generation idea.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like even the first company I worked for, Enterprise, for 50 years had you wear a white shirt and tie to work every single day. And every other week on Friday, you can wear a blue shirt and tie.
Right.
Occasionally on weekends, you can wear a polo.
That's so wild to me because like Enterprise is we have a uniform job in my mind. It's like you walk into Enterprise and there's people wearing Enterprise polo shirts.
I felt the same way about State Farm, and I never once saw you in a State Farm polo.
I wasn't allowed to wear them.
Right.
That's the thing is like, I think that those things are so, and I worked for a small business, granted, but I think those things are so wild.
I do too. And the crazy thing was like a few years ago, shortly after I left Enterprise, there was a post on LinkedIn. Now we're talking business. Man, we went from let's tell jokes to let's talk like white collar business. But anyway, there was a post on LinkedIn about Enterprise did away with the tie, but they still have to wear a white shirt. So I went in there not too long ago to buy a car because I needed a new car.
Oh God, there's nothing worse than a grown man in black pants and an unbuttoned at the neck white shirt.
Unbuttoned at the neck shirt, you're supposed to wear a tie. If the size of your shirt is a number or series of numbers, you either wear a tie with it or you wear a different shirt.
Yeah.
Or blazer. I'll take a blazer.
Yeah, if you have a collar that like buttons down, so you're not like collaring all over the place, then you're good.
Oh yeah, like a button-down collar, even on a fitted shirt.
Right,
it's
like
fine.
Oxford cloth button-down, then you're good.
Right, but when you're wearing like a dry clean only shirt,
that's the real. If your shirt is dry clean only, it's supposed to have a tie with it. And granted, I broke that rule all the time because I worked at a place where I didn't have to wear a tie, but I did have to wear a collared shirt.
Right. I don't even have to tuck in my collared shirts at my job. It's amazing.
But like the only time I ever wore a white shirt was either like under a sweater or with a tie.
See, now I am to this day when it comes to business attire, and Enterprise just drilled this into me. I don't think you could change it. I'm a firm believer in the either white or blue shirt.
I had shirts of many colors, but mostly I wore blue shirts.
I'm a firm believer in a blue shirt. Don't get me wrong. I think with a tie, you really need to look at your pattern if you're going to do a pattern. And if you wear one of the like tie and shirt sets that come from JCPenney in like Dwight yellow or pink or brown, you look bad. Me in the mirror.
Yeah, I didn't do that though. Like
no,
I'm not. I had more fashion sense than that. I wore outfits that made sense.
Right. I know. I remember. I'd seen you go to work.
But like I wore pink shirts. I wore yellow shirts. I wore blue shirts. I wore.
I don't know that there's a yellow shirt that looks good. That might be me. That might be my prejudice.
I wasn't wearing like mustard yellow.
Okay.
It's like a pale yellow.
I don't know.
Usually with like some blue pants.
Shirt, I think of mustard.
I don't know. But I didn't have like a color code for my shirts. I just had to wear a shirt with a collar. Sometimes I wore polo shirts tucked into dress pants.
You got to be careful with the dress pants you wear with your tucked-in polo shirt, too. If you wear, like, a tucked-in polo shirt into your suit pants and think I can't
I don't wear my
tell,
suit
you're
pants
kidding
without
yourself.
my suit
no,
jacket.
I know. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking
just
about,
saying,
like, Verizon
yeah, like-
Wireless employee B. I can tell.
Right. Don't buy suit pants for your uniform.
Right. I get that you had to do it like you're new here. I'm with it. You don't want to spend your money on clothes. You don't know how long you're going to be
Buy
here.
a pair of black pants.
But it is like if you think you're going to be at this company for more than a year, it is okay to invest in clothes that you can wear to work.
Right, for sure. This was a weird conversation topic to get in on.
Because you don't go to work?
Sure.
What do you wear to your photography job?
Whatever I'm wearing.
Whatever you're wearing.
Yep.
What is the Ethan wardrobe now? Are you typically like a t-shirt shorts guy? Or are you like a...
It depends entirely on the weather right now. We're at that part of the year where, like, it could be jeans and a hoodie, or it could be a t-shirt and a shorts.
But is it ever like a golf shirt or a polo shirt?
Rarely.
Rarely, okay.
Because I know when I go back to work, I'm going to be stuck there.
Right.
Unless I can make it as a creative.
Is that the goal? Are you trying to make it as a creative? I mean, obviously that's what
Yeah,
we're doing
I'm
right
not
now, but,
trying to make it as a creative. I'm not hanging my hat on it, but I'm also not going to be mad if it happens.
Right.
All right, well, let's wrap up then.
Oh my gosh, we made it further than I
Yeah.
thought. Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Where does this go on our big board? It doesn't go on our big board.
It doesn't go on the big board. As far as TV show episodes we've reviewed, this is number one.
Yeah.
Number one and only one.
Of course, I'm sure that we're going to get DMs that are like, actually, in episode 14, nope, that's the Ben episode. In episode, 20, you guys talked about a random episode of SpongeBob that you said was the greatest episode of television ever.
Right. And you know what?
Probably.
I can think of a few episodes of SpongeBob better than this.
Yeah. But
It's a
like I said, this is the second worst rated episode of the entire series. There is only one rotten episode of Game of Thrones.
And it's that one.
Unbowed, Unbent, Unbroken is what that one's called.
Well, let's rate the what's our breakfast food here? What does this movie think? What do you think of as breakfast food when you watch this episode of television?
I don't know, because it's the breakfast you didn't think you were going to ever get to have again.
Oh, it's a bran muffin, or like raisin bran.
Jesus Christ. Bran Stark.
Are you kidding
There was
me?
a whole season without Bran Stark, fun fact. A whole season.
Really?
Yeah, he just wasn't there.
Raisin Bran Stark?
Yeah, and then he was significantly older when he came back.
Is it the same actor?
Yeah, it's been the same
is,
actor
right?
the whole time.
Okay. I was convinced, this is a fun fact about me, when Prisoner of Azkaban came out, I was like, that's a different Draco Malfoy.
It's not.
I was convinced that Draco was like a different actor in pretty much every movie.
It's not.
Of course, like when you watch back now, it's like, oh yeah, that's Tom Felton as a child, as an adolescent, and as a young adult, obviously.
And
But-
as like a 20-something-year-old man.
right. But, you know, to me growing up, I was like, it's a different haircut, it's a different guy. No doubt about it.
That's true. They did play fast and loose with the hair in that series.
Yeah.
All right, it can be Raisin Bran Crunch.
Raisin Bran Crunch. That's it. That's it right there. The villain ranking, I don't know. I feel like a Alolan Darth Maul. Ice fighting is a great combo. Very bad against... Well, no, I mean, it doesn't really have any natural weaknesses, does it?
Yeah, Valyrian Steel.
Is Steel good against ice fighting?
I don't know.
Ice fighting type. Let's find out. Not Bubblepedia. I need Cerebi. I don't think I'm going to get it. All right.
Is Cerebi.net still in existence?
Are you kidding me? If Cerebi were to go away, I would cry.
I have...
I don't think there are any ice fighting.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Oh, here we go. Crabominable. Crabominable.
Sure. Is that really the only one?
That's the first one I came to. What are your weaknesses? 2 times to fighting, 2 times to flying, 2 times to steel, 2 times to fire, 2 times to psychic, and 2 times to fairy. So, really, I mean, we're kind of onto something here.
Yeah, it's weak against steel.
Weak against steel and fire.
Oh yeah, that's the other way you can kill him, is by burning him.
She burned him with a dragon.
Well, maybe not him, but you can kill the whites like that.
Yeah. Can you kill them with psychic energy or flying energy? I guess the dragon counts. You can also punch them, and you can fairy them. There are no fairies.
Actually, there are,
All right.
and they were pretty effective.
Well, there you go.
They're like
There you have it,
dryads,
ladies
like
and gentlemen.
woodland nymphs.
That's pretty much how I would describe them here. It is the only fighting ice Pokemon. in case
They
you're
all look
curious.
like Celebi.
I'm more of a Jirachi type.
Chillavamarachi.
Chillamarachi.
That picture will
Haha.
be linked in the description of this episode.
Do you have
I
it?
have it.
Hashtag chill.
It's on my desktop.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You've been holding on to it?
Yeah, I found it after you deleted it. I found that I had already downloaded it.
Lucky you. Lucky
Yep.
you. Next week, we're covering Pokemon the first movie?
Shut up, man. I'm totally hood.
Oh, God. Oh, God. It's so bad.
Go to Discord right now.
Next week is Pokemon the first movie. The week following is Detective Pikachu. Chikapoo. Now, Detective Pikachu is not a big enough release that it warrants Ethan and I releasing an episode on Saturday. So it will come out in the middle of the week, and we will not be doing a TV episode following it, which appears to be the new format.
For giant
I don't
releases.
know what I don't know what TV show will be big come December, but our next release on Saturday movie will probably be Star Wars Episode 9.
Or even earlier.
What would come before that? Far From Home?
No, I just mean if we released early, we
might
be able to release on Friday.
Right. Just depends upon how our schedules look around that time.
Which could be literally anything. Tyler will have an infant.
Right.
My infant might be potentially 6-month-old.
Right. My infant might be like, you're not watching Star Wars at all, period. Because I'm in the hospital, which makes me sad to think about.
Yeah, that took a turn.
Yeah, I'm constantly worried about this baby. They say all you do when you have kids is you worry. So that's all I do. Welcome to my
but I
life.
wouldn't worry in
child.
April that your unborn child is going to be in the hospital in December.
I know, because I really do want to see Star Wars.
You've got a lot of battle between then.
I'm very excited. Baby's doing great. 4 months yesterday until the baby is born.
Dang.
If it's born on
That's
the day.
bonkers.
Which I'm cheering for. I like the date, August 29.
That's cousin Rachel's birthday, right?
Rachel's and Matt and Ryan's.
Hey, I don't know them.
It's Rachel's brothers.
I know who they are, but I don't know them.
I do.
Right, but I nor the listeners do not.
They might listen.
I think you're missing the point. Rachel's in our Discord. She's like a fan.
Additionally, just so you know, August 29th birthdays, Michael Jackson, Liam Payne, Leah Michelle, those are the only names here I know.
Who is Leah Michelle?
She was on Glee. She was Rachel. She was the main character.
Okay.
John McCain is an American hero.
Okay. All right, well, let's finish up here.
I'm ready for you.
You got any final thoughts?
This is a cool thing that they made. This is a neat little piece of cinema that they put together. I liked reviewing a TV episode. It is way, way shorter than a movie.
Yes.
I've watched it twice now.
I mean, it's as long as Emperor's New Groove. I think it's longer.
The file is longer. I'm at an hour and 17 minutes, and he's about to get stabbed.
Yeah, isn't an hour and 17 minutes how long Emperor's New Groove is?
Yes, but the file starts with 4 minutes of previews, and there's 1844 left on this video, but there's a lot of, again, HBO previews.
The listed runtime for the episode is an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay. Emperor's New Groove is the shortest film in history. I mean, I know it's not.
It's not.
Oh, she does stab him in the heart. Fun fact. Just watched it happen again.
Is it in the heart?
It is.
That
in the
makes
heart.
sense. I mean,
that's a reasonable place
be kind
to
of
get
a
stabbed,
weird flex to do it somewhere else.
Right.
Cool. All right. Well, that's that. We did an episode of Game of Thrones, which is a wild thing to have done.
You know, I just want to try different things with this podcast. Sometimes I don't think the podcast has gotten stale by any means, but I want to remind myself that this thing that we create is our thing that we create. We don't have to follow the formula. We don't have a boss.
We have an audience that wants to hear us jabber on about movies.
Yes, and we are not going to stop talking about movies. But we will occasionally try new things like this, and maybe unlike this. Who knows? Maybe we'll do just a strictly comedy episode, which would be a lot of material to write.
Yeah, unless we were...
Without a prompt.
Yeah, unless I was going to say, when we had something to riff on.
Right. Be a lot of jokes. Takes Kevin Hart 2 years to write an hour. We have 2 hours, and he's the best comedian in the world by the numbers.
Cool. Anyway, did an episode of Game of Thrones. Thank you for listening. You can find us on the internet all over the freaking place, mostly at Bacon and Eggs Pod. If you want to get at us, that's the best way to do it on Twitter and or Instagram. You can also join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groupid/some ungodly link. But you can find it in the description below and hit join, and we'll put you in there. You can talk whatever you want, except for mean stuff.
Yeah, and don't spoil Endgame just yet.
Yeah, no bummers.
Yeah. You can probably spoil Game of Thrones. Nobody seems to care about Game of Thrones spoilers. They're just out there.
Yeah, no, Game of Thrones people are cutthroat about it. They're just I'm going to be the first person to spoil it.
Right. I saw it on the TV.
Granted,
I filmed it with my phone.
It also has a much
now.
shorter shelf life. There will be a new one in 5 days.
Right. Yeah, join us on the things. Also, I've received a lot more direct messages in the past few weeks. Feel free to continue to direct message
I'm digging
me.
it.
I read all of your messages. I don't always respond to all of them, but I do read all of them, and I try to respond to all of them. Some of you send me books worth of questions, which I would love to answer. I just need like time to sit down and do so. And I've got all those still
I'll try
sitting
to.
in my inbox.
I will also try to look at the Bacon and Eggs accounts, the direct messages more frequently since we've been getting a lot more of them recently. In the past, it's like, hey, I had a question about the show, and I'm like, okay, that's Tyler's like job here. It's like I'm not gonna read it and respond like for him. But I'll try to get involved in those conversations as well. And you can just also DM me at WowNow on Twitter or at Bacon and Ethan on Instagram. Really need to get that at from Seamus. Change things over. I've been thinking about that.
He's asked you like recently.
I know.
Like when
I know,
hey,
but
can
I was
you
like sitting down to do something when he said that. I think I was like about to go see Endgame with you.
Oh, I love Endgame.
So I was like, well, I can't do it right now because I'm about to go see a movie. So I need to get with him and get that. But he's asleep at the moment.
Correct.
In all likelihood.
Quick question: is somebody else going to put on this necklace and become the demon witch king?
Who knows?
Queen.
Who knows? It was certainly like a drop the necklace, hold shot, do something else.
I know, it just happened on my screen.
Yeah, I
That's
have no
why brought
idea.
it up.
It's entirely possible. We'll see. And I mean, you want me to keep you updated with what happens?
I'm probably just gonna watch the next two or three episodes.
You should just watch the whole show.
I don't have time.
Just start however and finish it whenever. You don't have to rush through it.
We'll see.
Like remember, people did used to watch shows one episode a week.
I know. Can you imagine watching Lost one episode a week?
No, I can't. I started watching Bill Hader's new show, and I'm like done with it. It's like
People love that.
It's like 14 so far 20-minute episodes.
Oh yeah,
which
that's
is
a YouTube series.
nothing.
Man. Yeah, Shane Dawson's putting out more content.
Like they just kept auto playing, and I was just like, oh man, I'm like halfway done with the season.
I did that with Mozart in the Jungle one night. I watched the whole season, and then I like went to class.
Nice. Anyway. So yeah, DM us with your thoughts on the show, on this TV show that we reviewed, on Endgame, on literally whatever. We're here for you. Or you can join Discord and get us there. That's $3 a month or $36 a year. You can't pay annually. It's just, that's what it adds up to. And yeah, you can join the Discord for $3 a month and get conversation there. There's lots of lovely people that would love to talk to you at all times of day, always, about Adventures in Game.
Yeah, they're there.
Anyway, I think that's it. We've got graphics from Vaishon Brandon at graphite.vmb on Instagram, and music by the lovely Andrew Scott Bell at Andrew Scott Bell on Twitter and Instagram. Also, Vaishon's lovely as well. I don't know why I always say Andy is lovely and Vaishon is not. They're both incredibly lovely people.
Very easy to work with. Also, if you need, like, we shout them out because if you need their services, they're like this show doesn't make so much money that I think that you couldn't afford them. They are very reasonably priced, and they would be more than happy to help. They need your business. They want your business.
I'm always nervous to talk about Andy because like he's like an award-winning composer and definitely like put in great work for us. And I always just like somehow manage to Fortnite up his his information.
Yeah, you do.
And then we get, or like one time it was like, oh, the description links to somebody else's page for some reason, but like it is his link, and I'm just, it's like, and he messages me and just like, hey, not a problem. And I'm like, but it's a problem. I feel like it's a problem. You're mad at me. You're going to hate me
I've
forever.
Slighted you. And he's our fraternity brother, and he's
just the nicest guy
one of the
ever.
Nicest
Yeah,
people
seriously.
I know.
Anyway, I think that's it. I've been Ethan Edgehill. He's been Tyler Carlin. And until next week, arrivederci.
Arya Starkchi. I can say it too, Ethan.